Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Runway of Doom. The goddess next door struts her stuff on the catwalk to take on a runway of rogues in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Runway of Doom at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere.
Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue.
A comment from a black female viewer who seemed to have an issue with me using the term modern women. Now, this black female viewer says that I and other YouTubers toss around the term modern women, but the reality is we live in a modern world, and maybe modern women aren't the problem. According to her, maybe the problem is obsolete men who are living in the past who are their own worst enemies because they refuse to get with the times. And according to them, they say it's like a person driving a mule cart complaining about getting passed up and run off the course by modern carriages such as cars. Now, as I listened to this woman's statement, I was eager to go out here and look to deconstruct her talking points.
Let's go there.
Now, there are a group of men who have gone out here and adapted with the times and become just like what the modern woman wants them to be. Unfortunately, when it comes down to that modern woman, she basically doesn't like any of those guys at all. Because those guys basically are most of the beta males who have been wreaking havoc throughout society. Their antisocial behavior, participating in all of the sexual deviancy and sexual debauchery, and going out here and looking to see a woman as an object and not a person.
Wonderful guys. Wonderful.
These are the type of codependent males that come out of the homes from feminist indoctrinated mothers who basically raise these guys in single mother households, and as they've gotten with the times, many of these men just do not know how to function as related to any sort of relationship outside of the codependent one that they've had with their mothers, and it makes it where those men basically aren't compatible for any sort of relationship. And when it comes down to these men basically, as they've gotten with the times, are not interested in looking to be any sort of leader whatsoever or look to build anything with this modern woman. No, when it comes down to this modern man who has gotten with the times is either following one of two models. One, he's basically a passive, unassuming individual who doesn't really accomplish anything in life because he's under the skirt of a woman, or he's basically one of these whoremonger males who is out here looking to go out here and womanize and basically use most of the Western women. And as they're looking to use the Western woman, as they're getting with the times and going along with their sexual promiscuity, what's happening with these modern men who get with the times is that they don't look to build relationships with these women. No, they just go out here and look to participate in using these women for recreational use as they're riding around on the carousel, pump and dump these women, and then move on to the next woman without a single concern for anything in this world.
Wonderful guys. Wonderful.
And it's these modern men who go out here and pass these women behind after they wind up pumping and dumping these women. And after they pump and dump these women, they just go on about their business. And that's how these modern men basically got with the times. And as they've gotten with the times, all they're doing is participating in the sin that Satan wanted them to participate in when God created man. Here's what this sister needs to understand. The times may change, but the sin of man stays the same. Because when it came down to Satan, he wanted to see man basically fall because he basically fell. And the way he went out here and created the fall of man was to go after the weaker vessel that God created in Eve. Now, Eve was created by God to be in the role of a helpmeet to that man, Adam, that he created. And as he created this woman to go out here and serve that man, what happened was as they were in the Garden of Eden, what happened was Satan basically, through a serpent, sat there and deceived Eve by telling her that if she ate the forbidden fruit, she would know just like God. And Eve was not content with her role of looking to serve God. No, she wanted to know just like God. And that was how she wanted to go out here and get with the times as she thought. But when she went out here and got with the times as related to Satan, what happened was this led to the fall of man as Eve ate the forbidden fruit because she was told by Satan that she would not surely die. And as she was told that she would not die physically and saw herself not die physically, she wasn't focused on the spiritual aspects. And as she wasn't focused on the spiritual aspects, she then went over to Adam and then presented this fruit to Adam. And as Adam looked at this forbidden fruit, he then ate of the forbidden fruit and had his eyes opened. And as he basically got with Satan's times, what happened with Adam was that he went from being in a place of paradise and a place of perfect peace to having his eyes opened up to sin. And as he committed this great sin, this is where it basically led to man being separated from God. And as man got separated from God, it took the sacrifice of God's Son, Jesus, to basically look to reconcile man as related to his relationship with God. So when I hear people like this sister going out here and saying, oh, it's men who need to get with the times as related to the modern woman, this woman basically doesn't know how spiritually lost she is. Because like many of these black women that are out here, they basically are thinking, oh, it's the men who are obsolete. No, it's the women who are basically out here and they don't have a good spiritual foundation. And that started all the way with Eve, who was the one who was deceived. And just like Eve was deceived, the modern woman out here has been deceived into thinking that she's going out here and moving forward and being this modern woman when she was actually out here participating in the same type of sin that Eve was committing in the Garden of Eden. Because what Satan does is deceive most of these women out here to believe that they're moving ahead as they're out here in this world. And as they're out here in this world, participating in all of this debaucherous behavior, what they are is completely outside the order of God. And as they are outside the order of God, what's happening with these women is that they think that they're getting with the times, when in actuality, all they're doing is getting deeper and deeper into sin, and they're on a road to winding up losing their soul because they're completely blind to the fact that the devil is the one misleading them. And as the devil is the one misleading them, they're thinking that they're getting with these times as related to this world, when the thing that we need to be focused on as human beings is focused on our relationship with Christ, because it's not about our life in this world or getting with these times, because when it comes down to eternity, eternity is a completely different time. And again, eternity is endless, and you have the choice when you're on this world of whether you're going to choose to go out here and be with God by surrendering to Jesus Christ, or are you going to go out here and get with these times and then eventually wind up in a place where you have to deal with the judgment at the end of time. At the end of time, basically what's going to happen is that basically God is going to open up all these graves that people are in, and basically you will be at a place where you're going to have to deal with the judgment as related to your life on earth and take an account of your life on earth. And if you decided to get with the times of this world, what's going to happen is you're going to be out of time as related to God, and that's where your eternal soul will be with the devil who deceived you. What's going to happen is this devil will go out here, tell you to get with these times right now. And as you get with these times right now, what's going to happen is you're not going to see where this is going to take you in the next world as related to your place in eternity, as related to your soul. You're not seeing where it's going to take you. And that's what happens with many of these modern feminist indoctrinated women who are basically being about going out here and being programmed to basically go out here and be on a road where they wind up losing their eternal soul, because that's all part of this world system that Satan has created. This world system that Satan has created is all about going out here and getting you distracted by these times, not understanding that in God's time, basically God wants to go out here and look to save your soul so that you can be in the next world with him. And sadly, when it comes down to many modern women, they're so caught up in this world, they're not thinking about the later time that we're going to be either with God or in the lake of fire with the devil. And that's where a lot of these modern women get it twisted. A lot of these modern women go out here and get it twisted because they're thinking, oh, this man is obsolete. No, when it comes down to men and women, I would basically say not much has changed ever since the days of Adam and Eve and the fall. Yes, the historical times may have changed, but when it comes down to the sin nature of man and woman, it is still the same. And sadly, when it comes down to many modern women, they're so caught up in staying in the driver's seat and adapting to Satan's whole world that they can't see that, yes, he may change the aesthetics of the world, but he has you still in the same sin and debauchery. And as he continues to have you in the same sin and debauchery, his whole goal is to go out here and take souls to the lake of fire. Again, he wants to reap a harvest of tares, and that's what he wants to do by looking to get you with the times. And that's what happens with many of these modern men, whether they be these beta male deviants or these whoremonger males. They don't understand their role in God's order. And as they don't understand their role in God's order, what happens to these men is that these men become just as spiritually lost as these modern women. And as they follow behind these modern women, as they adapt to the times, what happens to these modern men is that they wind up on a road taking their souls to hell as they follow behind these modern women who basically, again, think that they're so advanced, but basically don't see how they are behind as related to their spiritual life. As they are behind in their spiritual life, they can't see how Satan uses these modern times and uses his concepts like feminism to make them think, oh, I'm moving ahead, but I'm just, again, becoming more and more spiritually lost. Because as these women start going out here and expressing their so-called independence, they go down roads of deviancy, roads of debauchery, and wind up getting spiritually possessed, where they're doing things like tattooing their bodies and putting on all sorts of piercings and all sorts of things. Again, they wind up on a road where their soul winds up getting lost as they get consumed by demons, whether it be demons that enter their body because they don't have a seal of Christ, or the spirit and DNA of some man inside of them from the sexual promiscuity that they've participated in. What happens is that these women, as they call themselves getting with the times, just get as lost as their grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and great-great-grandmothers who follow down the road of sin that lead all the way back to the first woman, Eve. That's what happens with most of these modern women who, again, think that they're getting with the times and want to say, oh, men are obsolete, because they're thinking about how all these times are changing, but nothing has really changed out as related to man. because sin is still the same, and with sin still being the same, what happens is that many of these modern women don't see how they are being deceived into thinking that they're on a road to good intentions that's taking them straight to hell. Now, if you want to learn more about the issues as related to what's leading to these modern women being spiritually lost, you can pick up my books, The Woman Crisis and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com. And in both of those books, I explain how many of these modern women basically wind up on a road to being spiritually lost and caught up in a paradigm of failure that keeps them from having spiritual peace or being able to even have a relationship with the man God created for them to go out here and be a helpmeet too. And if you want to see me make more videos talking about the Bible and relationships overall, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, An Offer He Can't Refuse. The man who rules the world gets a job offer he can't refuse in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' An Offer He Can't Refuse at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Esteem a New Woman. The devilish diva starts on the road to becoming a new creature in Christ in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem a New Woman at Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.